Everyone, welcome to Kilamanjaro Safari. Kilamanjaro Safaris. My name is Stanley and I'll be a safari truck guide into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. The guys look above you, you'll see the animal spawning guide. Let's help you out to see any of the animals that may be on the reserve today. Just so know, not all the animals may be out about today. Some of them do tend to migrate from time to time. Others are often nocturnal by nature. There's always a good chance we'll see most of the animals up on that list. Our adventure begins here at the Little Cherry Forest. There are a lot of animals that use the cover of shade and trees in order to hide away from any potential predators. One of the first animals we'll see is here on the right hand side. Look closely, there's actually no copy up on that hill. A copy used to be thought as a mythological animal, something very akin to like a dragon or unicorn. That's because in the Western world they couldn't even find the copy until 1901. Up on the left hand side, you actually see one of the greater kudu. Greater kudu are the second largest antelope out here on the reserve.
See, right up the top.
Female kudu lack any horns at all, but male kudu have some of the longest horns of any other antelope. Some of them reach up to nearly 70 inches in length. Coming up ahead on the right hand side, we'll actually see a small herd of bongos over here. Bongos are known as ghosts of the forest as they blend in with their surroundings. Bongos actually have these long curved horns that allow them to escape into the underbrush whenever they are chased by a predator. We're gonna start making our way over towards the other end of the Little Cherry Forest. Start making our way over towards the Safari River area. Within the Safari River, we'll see a lot of different animals that like to live on land and in the water for most of their lifetimes. Be sure to keep a nice good lookout, especially for any animals that could be hiding underwater. There's one last animal before we leave the Little Cherry Forest. If you look closely here on the left-hand side, you might be able to spot a saddle-billed stork behind those reeds back there. Saddle-billed stork grow up to 5 feet tall and have an impressive wingspan of nearly 9 feet in diameter.
Black and white.
Oh yeah.
Male saddle-billed stork often have brown eyes, while females are known to have yellow eyes. The Safari River itself begins here on the right hand side. This river is known to kind of snake its way all the way towards the savannah. It actually provides a lot of rich habitats for many of the inhabitants out here. In some places within this river, it can reach at the depths of almost 10 to 15 feet, meaning some large animals could always be hiding underneath the water. On the left hand side, you'll actually spot several Nile hippos.
Oh, look at them all.
Nile hippos can weigh up to nearly
See them all?
5,500 pounds. They can actually hold their breath underwater for at least 8 minutes at a time before resurfacing up for air. A group of hippos like that is actually known as a float. And a float's main job is usually to protect any baby hippos and their mothers. Coming up on the left-hand side,
another one.
we'll actually spot some pink-backed pelicans on this little island. Pink-backed pelicans usually get their coloration sometime around the mating season. Some of them have an average wingspan of nearly 3 feet. They're actually one of the few pelican species that existed for millions of years. On the left there, you'll see a whole float of Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles can grow to nearly 15 feet in length.
Do you see them on the ledge?
Weigh nearly 500 pounds. Much like the Nile hippos, they can hold their breath underwater. So for them, they can hold their breath for nearly 2 hours at a time. Now it's time to leave the Safari River behind us. Start making our way over towards the savannah up ahead. Within the savannah, we'll see a lot of different animals. Some of them like to graze from some of the tallest of the palm trees. Other animals are known to cleverly hide in the low grasslands up ahead. Much of the vegetation that you'll see out here is actually very healthy for many of the animals. But even more importantly, it actually provides a lot of good cover for both predators and prey alike. Yeah, from up here you can actually spot a giraffe that's actually starting to move all the way back there.
Yeah, I see it.
We'll see if we can get a much closer look up ahead. In fact, coming up here on the right-hand side, you can see that several Maasai giraffes are starting to migrate back there. They are indeed some of the world's tallest land mammals. Some of them reach to nearly 20 feet tall. For most of the day, they just tend to walk around, cruising at speeds, sometimes of nearly 10 miles an hour. Though they actually can gallop in a top speed of 35 miles an hour. Beside them, you can actually see some of the Hartman mountain zebras. These particular zebras actually have no stripes on their bellies. Instead, they have far more broader stripes near their rear ends. Try to get a much closer look at them very shortly. Though, here on the left, you might be able to find some African wild dogs huddled around here. Most African wild dogs are Africa's most successful hunters. These guys actually have like an 80 to almost 85% success rate.
Did you see the dogs right behind the trees, right behind the reeds right there?
Because they actually know how to work together as a pack in order to bring down their prey.
You're not even looking in the right direction. Okay.
Uh-oh. This is a very close look over here on the left. Some of the sable antelope. Sable antelope are actually known to be the symbol of the Harambe Reserve.
They're over here behind this tree. We'll get to see.
The long curved horns of the sable antelope are actually strong enough to even repel a lion. They usually come in two different colors. Males turn into like a jet black color. Females retain a more reddish brown coat. It looks like here on the left we can get that nice close view of the Hartman mountain zebra. Now, many people often wonder whether zebras are black with white stripes or white with black stripes. In order to answer the question, just look over their noses. If the noses are usually black, they are black with white stripes. If their noses are usually white or pink, they would be white with black stripes. That's how you can tell.
Look at it. It's like walking right towards the
Zebras are
lawn.
often known to form multi-species herds with other animals. So sometimes they'll pair off with giraffes, other times with some other antelope, and even wildebeest. This is actually very cool. On the left, you guys just spot some tiny little springbok on this hill. These guys can leap up to nearly 6 feet high upwards in the air and 13 feet forward. Also known to move to speeds of nearly 40 miles an hour. They're some of the world's top 10 fastest land animals. Male springbok are distinguishable if whether or not they have lyre-shaped horns or not. On the left here, get a close look at the giraffe. Maybe we'll get to see its very long tongue, in which outside of those long necks, their tongues are really long, almost reaching 18 inches past their nose. Those tongues are actually a purple-black color. Yep, there it is.
Look at them. Look at them, boys. It's like right here.
They actually use those tongues to reach the leaves high above. Giraffes are incredibly docile animals, though they actually engage in a form of necking in order to assert dominance between their group. Here's a fun little fact. Apparently a group of giraffes is actually known as a tower. Interesting as well is that apparently A tower could hold up to nearly 12 to 20 giraffes at any given time. Looks like on the right you can see some of the white-bearded wildebeest migrating up on that hill.
More giraffes.
Wildebeest got their name from the Afrikaans term of wild and beast. Seems like there's a little adolescent giraffe back here.
The babies. Look at him.
Here's a fun little fact. Usually, whenever a baby giraffe is born, they're actually already 6 feet tall. They'll actually communicate with their mothers using ultrasonic sounds. Giraffes actually emit a very low baa-like sound, similar to that of a sheep. Giraffes are largely known to actually be particularly fond of palm fronds and acacia leaves. Notice the little horn-like.
You're gonna find a lot of that
on top of their heads. Those are known as ossicones.
Oh, this is close up.
Ossicones are very different than horns. Horns are usually hollow inside. Those ossicones are actually filled to the rim with bone. They actually help absorb shock damage, usually whenever they are growing up, and sometimes hit the low branches. It actually prevents them from getting too hurt. Now entering into a more forest region of the savannah. Within this forest region, we're going to find some of the largest animals out here on the reserve. Wow, looks like there on the right is actually one of the African elephants back there. African elephants can weigh up to nearly 10,000 to almost 13,000 pounds. Around the age 13, male elephants actually break off the main herd and often form their own bachelor herds. While female elephants are usually guided by a matriarch. The matriarch has the final say as to where the elephants often have to go to eat, sleep, and more specifically, knows what's best for any of the baby elephants. We're gonna just make our way around here and see if we can find even more African elephants in this area. Usually the main herd likes to stay very close nearby. Wonder what the elephants like to eat in the wild. They often like to eat a combination of food, like dry grass, leaves, roots, sometimes even a bit of red clay. This clay has a lot of nutrients that can't be found in most plants.
Here you go.
Here we can see that the elephant is actually using its trunk in order to try to eat. Their trunks are very important to them. They actually have over 100,000 muscles in their trunk alone. They're able to help bend and flex at will, and they can hold up to nearly 5 gallons of water at any given time. Now they don't drink through their trunks, kind of like a straw. Instead, think of the straw like a thumb on the other end. That way they can actually carry around some of that water. Of course, with their trunks, don't forget about their big ears. As on for to show, they actually help cool the internal body temperatures just by flapping them. In fact, on really hot days, elephants would just constantly flap their ears, and they don't feel cool as though we were sitting in an air conditioning. Another really good way for elephants to cool down is to sling mud, dust, dirt, or grass all over their backs and sides. They have many different ways in order to cool down, especially during those really hot African summers.
Okay.
Here on the left-hand side, We actually spot several of the greater flamingos here. These flamingos are actually known to be the lightest pink of the flamingo species. Their diet is actually highly consistent of beta carotene. This is usually found in stuff like briny shrimp, for
What's in
example.
there?
Briny shrimp in turn is what allows the flamingo's white feathers to turn pink over time.
No, we just threw it in the bag.
I didn't throw it anywhere.
You know that a group of flamingos is actually called a flamboyance. Sometimes each flamboyance can contain roughly around 20,000 flamingos.
I know the animals.
That's a lot of
I already
flamingos.
touched it.
On the left here is actually one of the little ostriches. I say little, but actually ostriches could almost reach 6 feet tall. They're known to run at speeds of nearly 45 miles an hour, and while they can't fly, they can still use their wings to help direct themselves whenever they're running.
I heard it.
Okay. That was good.
Yeah, if ever agitated enough, an ostrich could even bring down even a lion. It'd be wise not to make an ostrich mad.
I was trying to get pictures for you first. So you have a picture too.
They're often accused of having very small brains, but ostriches are actually able to pick up sound cues better than most animals. Coming up on the hill on the left here, you can actually see that there's a cheetah prowling up ahead. Cheetahs are actually some of the world's fastest land mammals.
Take a picture.
They can run at a top speed of nearly 50 miles an hour. A cheetah's body is actually built a bit more like a canine body than a feline body. In fact, cheetahs don't make too many feline-like noises. They actually prefer to emit high-pitched chirps to communicate with their cubs and family members. There's some of the few diurnal predators out here on the reserve, which means they prefer to hunt early in the morning or around sundown. Quite the opposite of this big guy coming up on the left-hand side here. If you look up on the rocks, you can actually see that there's a male lion up there.
See him? Up the top?
Male
the right of
lion
the tree.
weighs nearly
Stand up. See the lion up the top?
500 pounds.
Look at Anna, get a picture.
Female lions usually come up around 300 pounds.
Good picture.
Now, most lions are usually sleeping or idle for 18 to 20 hours a day.
Oh, there's another one. There's a female.
And this one here is actually almost midnight for them. In fact, the female lion is just currently resting there. Most humans tend to fear lions, not realizing that without these lions, much of the savannah as we know it today would not be able to exist. Now, surprisingly enough, their eyesight is almost the same as a human during the day. But at nighttime, it's actually 6 times better than that of a human's. I wonder where this male is actually heading towards. Oh.
Ooh.
That sounds like a lion's growl. Though usually their roars are so deep, they can be detected up to 6 miles away. On the left here is actually one of the little warthogs here. Warthogs are actually some of the largest known burrowing animals. If you notice these large holes in the ground,
Get a picture of
the warthogs actually made them. At night, they'll actually burrow within those dens and kind of plug towards the entrance to prevent predators from entering them.
I'll hold my phone.
On the right-hand side, you can actually see that there's a white rhino back there. White rhinos can weigh up to nearly 5,000 pounds. They're at least 2,000 pounds heavier than their black rhino cousins. If you look closely on the ground, you'll see several eggs. Those are ostrich eggs. Ostrich eggs are actually 10 times larger than chicken eggs. A human man could actually stand on top of an ostrich egg and it would not break. They're just incredibly durable. We're now making our way over towards one of the last areas of the savannah. This area is known as the Magati Glen. There are a lot of animals who use this little habitat as a crossroads to make their way over towards other areas within the reserve. In fact, so many animals have often used this little area. The local wardens have actually built a little outpost here to observe the animals from a much closer distance. We're going to actually use this little pathway to start making our way back over towards the Harambe village. Now, I hope the folks enjoyed today's Kilamanjaro Safaris. We managed to see a lot of fantastic animals out here today. But if you want to see even more animals, be sure to visit the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. At the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, you guys can find gorillas, meerkats, naked mole rats, African bullfrogs, and several exotic species of African birds and fish. Here at Kilamanjaro Safaris, we're all about the safety and conservation of all of these animals. If you want to help out, you're more than welcome to do so. Whether by donating to a local wildlife organization or, simply just by reducing, reusing, and recycling back at home. So just by recycling a bottle of water, could be saving at least 5 to 10 gallons of oil. Recycling a whole stack of paper could save at least 10 to 20 trees. Every little bit counts, especially when helping out these magnificent animals. Now here in Harambe, we really don't like to say goodbye. Goodbye is often a bit too sad and a bit too final. So instead I'm going to leave you guys with our saying, which is Kwaherini. And what Kwaherini means in Swahili, it means go well. So Kwaherini everyone. A wonderful